Okay, so welcome to my family history project. This is Ashley Hansen and created by Ashley Hansen. So my ethnic origins, I'm 48% England, Wales, and Northwestern Europe, 41% Ireland and Scotland, 7% Norway, 2% France, and this is a screen capture from my Ancestry.com account. I recently did my DNA, and this is what it came up with. So for discussing my migration experience, I'm going to be mostly focused on Captain Thomas Holmes. You can see down here in the right-hand corner that he is my sixth great-grandfather. And he actually traveled. He was born in Lancashire, England, and then resided in Ireland for quite some time, and then migrated over to the Americas. And so Captain Thomas Holmes, 1624 to 1695. He was like I said, my sixth great grandfather. In 1624, he was born in Lancashire, England. In 1654, he became the captain during the Civil War between the king and the Parliament. And in 1654, he also was a part of the Hispaniola expedition under Admiral Penn, also known as William Penn. In 1659, he becomes a member of the Society of Friends, also known as the Quakers, and he obtained 4,000 acres of land in Ireland. However, in 1673, publishes a brief relation of some part of sufferings of the true Christians, the people of God, called and scorned Quakers in Ireland. And this is where he migrates over to the Americas. So the migration experience continued. Captain Thomas Holmes of the city of Waterford in the Kingdom of Ireland sailed for Pennsylvania on the ship Amity, which left the down summer of 1681. He is recorded as first arriving in Delaware and settling as Surveyor General of the province of Pennsylvania on April 23, 1682. Captain Holmes and his family took up their residence at Shackamaxon, where there was a settlement of English friends who had come the year prior. At first, they lodged with Thomas Fairman, who then sent a bill of charges to William Penn for allowing Holmes, his wife, and their 2 sons and 2 daughters to reside with him. Holmes was later appointed commissioner and played a role in the settling of the colony of Pennsylvania. So, assimilation experiences, the founding of the middle colonies. In 1682, Holmes brought a letter from his friend William Penn to the Indians which read, "The man which delivers this unto you is my special friend, sober, wise, and loving. You may believe him." Unlike the New England colonies, the middle colonies of New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania originated as land grants by the English monarch to 1 or 2 proprietors who then possessed both the land and the extensive, almost monarchical powers of government. And so my great-grandfather also was a part of Penn's treaty with the Indians. Under the rule of King Charles II, Penn was actually given the land in Pennsylvania as repayment from the king. But rather than just taking the land from the Indians, William Penn had a very strong moral ethic, and he actually paid for the land from the Indians. So what kind of obstacles did the Quakers experience? The Quakers' concept of an open, generous God who made his love equally available to all people continually brought them into conflict with the English government. Quaker leaders such as my sixth great-grandfather were not specially trained preachers. The Quakers also allowed women to assume positions of religious leadership, which was completely unheard of back in these days. As Penn stated, "In souls there is no sex." This enraged many non-Quakers and provoked innumerable beatings and sometimes death. However, the Quakers of Pennsylvania were insistent on maintaining positive relationships with the indigenous peoples of the land, unlike their New England counterparts, who were more than happy to rob and steal tribal lands. So, although the Quakers believed in religious freedoms, if you were not a Christian, you were not permitted to vote. So here's a video done by a student that I found on YouTube that I think is just really amazing. So I'll go ahead and play that. So he wanted freedom of religion, which they weren't always afforded in their homeland of England. And as you can see, there's a whole repertoire of different belief systems. So strong religious tolerance and welcome settlers searching for freedom of religion. The city of brotherly love. Okay, so as you can see, they had political freedoms, but I would like to add in a fun fact. So King Charles II, so although there was no exclusions for these European settlers in this colony, it was kind of funny because King Charles II actually allowed the land to William Penn, so that way he could kind of get rid of the Quakers out of England. So there was policies in a way in England to kind of exclude them from the population because they were against the monarchy in essence. But here in their colony, they had the freedoms that they were looking for. All right, so public policies to mobilize. So the colony is proprietary, meaning owned by William Penn. So it was under his jurisdiction once King Charles II gave him the land as payment. So the frame of government was complete religious toleration. First law enacted by William Penn, severe punishment. And Penn stated, to all such offenses against God, as swearing, cursing, lying, profane talking, and drunkenness, which excites the people to rudeness, cruelty, looseness, and derogation. I think that's supposed to say degradation. Expanding economy and free trade with England. Pennsylvania colony was a melting pot of English, German, Scottish, Scot-Irish, and Dutch. So in essence, there was a lot of ethnicities within the colony. Religious freedoms were the basis of the city of brotherly love, against taking things by force or any kind of warfare. So what were the labor roles and contributions? So farming, building, cattle herding trade, fishing, of course, church, and flour production and export. So they actually had an open trade agreement with England. And I found this amazing picture. So Quakers, the Religious Society of Friends, meet here every Sunday morning, 10:30 to 11:30. Everyone is welcome. Quakers are people of differing beliefs, lifestyles, and social backgrounds. What we have in common is an acceptance that all people are on a spiritual journey. We hope we are indeed a real society of friends, open to the world and welcoming everyone. And I think that ideology was very probably weird back in the 17th century. So, impact on American culture. The approach that William Penn and other European Quaker men and families, like that of my sixth great-grandfather, demonstrated an attitude of tolerance, righteousness, and fairness, purchasing land from the Indians rather than taking it. This idea of religious freedoms and tolerance of immigrants of all nationalities, although back then it was all white Europeans, was also utilized in the founding of America and within the Declaration of Independence, which was not going to happen for quite some time after this colony. So the idea to resist war or taking things by force. And so I put in an image that we are familiar with, which is to coexist regardless of nationality or religious background. And here are my references.